South Texas Fail coming at you again. Why? I don't know, but you should probably seek professional help if you keep watching these. But in case you forgot, or if your Alzheimer's set in a little early, I'm still just another opinionated asshole. Well, at least if you have Alzheimer's, every time you meet someone, it's the first time. Every time. Anyways, today is story time. That's right. Now I'm going to tell you the wonderful story of a young man and his inspirational quest to take over. No, I'm fucking kidding. Actually, this is about a fucktard that I hadn't thought about for years until someone brought him up. I'm going to talk about Stinky and how he got his name and how I learned to hate him. Stinky. Now, I'm not the one that discovered Stinky. No, that was one of my friends who joined a anime group while going through his weeb stage. He wanted to relive the old action-packed, ultra-violent Akira, I guess, style anime. Apparently that group just played more modern pussy bullshit harem crap. But he did meet some other gamers, and they did game with us a few times. Then, about 3-4 months down the road, well, Fantasy Flight Unfucked Dark Heresy. They brought it back. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, we said. We want to play that. We had most of a group. We just needed one other player. And that's where we met Stinky. Or at least I did. Stinky had no idea how to play the game. He had never played it before. But he was really quick to learn. He was one of those players that, despite looking like a creepy-ass little 12-year-old, even though he was in his early 20s. Yeah, he was one of those kids. He was ultra scrawny, long, greasy hair, looked like a kid that didn't know how to clean himself. But he was quick to pick it up. He picked up the lore and how to play and base strategies and all that. And he got really proficient in the game fairly fast. Above the average learning curve, I would say. So he was a welcome member in the game. Okay, cool. Fine. That works. That really did. And for the first 5-6 months, everything was going fucking great. Everything. It was fucking fine. Then, one day, my buddy and I, the GM, we're hanging out at his place, and he gets a call from Stinky out of random. Now, I know the kid's real name, but I'm not going to say it because that's kind of a dickhead thing to do. But I do know his real name. Yeah. But we call him Stinky. Because on this day, we find out that his roommate had been taking the rent money for the last couple months. And instead of paying the rent and the bills, would go and buy cough syrup and go robo-tripping. Well, he got evicted. Because if you don't pay your rent, they're going to evict your ass. But apparently, Stinky hid in the apartment after his friend got evicted, right? It was either his friend or his brother, I don't remember which one, because that was his normal source of rides to the games. Okay, fine. Well, when they got evicted, I guess Stinky still had a key, and they didn't just upright and change the locks, because Stinky still got in. But a few days later, or maybe a week later, the office management did change the locks on the unit. The only thing is Stinky saw the guys coming and hid in the apartment. Now, I think he hid in like a little closet or a little pantry or some shit like that. He just hid in the apartment while they changed the locks. So now he's squatting in an apartment that he shouldn't be in. And I'm pretty sure his ass wasn't even on the lease. But that's besides the point, because now he doesn't have a regular ride, and he's living in an apartment, at the time we didn't know, had no power, no water. Dude, it's summer. You're gonna sweat your ass off in South Texas, and it gets into, triple digits here, with a high humidity. So, he'd been living there with no lights, no water, stinking it up. Well, God, sorry, the smell Just remembering it makes me kind of gag. Ugh. God, it was bad. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Stinky calls. We agree to go pick him up. Now, where he lived was out of the way of the game shop. Okay, fine. So we go, my buddy and I, because we were hanging out, shooting the shit and killing time before the game. We go, we pick him up. He gets in the car, and he stinks. Like, there is no way to define the stench or even describe the stench that was coming off this guy. If you ever go by roadkill in the summer, yeah, that plus ass plus feet. It was like something had died in the car. And it didn't get any better once we got to the game shop. The game shop, they had rooms that you could use to play. And at the time, when this game first started, they were first come, first serve. So we got a room. We didn't get one of the small ones. Thank fucking God, one of the larger rooms was open. The small ones were 10 by 10s. This one was a 15 by 10. And we had him sit in the back area of the room, away from the door, where we could keep it open to get airflow into the room, because they didn't have the best ventilation, and there wasn't a fan or anything to circulate the air, to try to keep it fresh. So we had him sit in the back room. And even with the door open and the AC kind of blowing in that room, the stench just filled the room. It was overpowering. It was a really, really bad stench. And it was so bad that my buddy, the GM, would join us while we'd go outside and smoke. Stinky didn't smoke, so we made him bitch sit the room, because the game shop had a problem with Rogue WAD games. For those of you who don't know what WAD is, it's a World of Darkness. And I have nothing against World of Darkness. I play old World. I've played quite a few of the old school World of Darkness games: Vampire, Mage, Werewolf, Demon, Mummy. I've played quite a few of those games. I actually enjoy them. They're one of the game systems I really like. But I digress. They would show up to take over a room if everyone was outside. But if one person was in there, they wouldn't go in. They wouldn't throw your shit in the corner or sometimes in the trash. And it was a group of high schoolers that were kind of assholes anyways. But, I digress. So Stinky would bitch sit the room while the rest of us would go outside for air. And some of us would go and smoke. And we did that about once every 30, 40 minutes. So, that's fine. We take him home. And in the car is when we find out that his roommate had been evicted. It was either his friend or his brother. Because he's saying, "Oh God, I hope I didn't lock myself out of the apartment." It's like, dude, couldn't you just go to the office and have them let you in? And he's like, "No, my roommate had spent the rent money for like the last 3-4 months and the utility money on cough syrup. He'd get high. And so he got evicted." I'm like, "Then how are you still in the apartment?" He goes, "Well, when they came to change the locks, I hid." You hid? Yeah. Okay then. Well, I hate to be a dick, dude, but you kind of smell bad. There's no water, is there? No. No power? No. Alright, next time before the game, take a shower and put deodorant on, man. I'm not trying to be mean, but you smell horrible, man. Come on. You're a grown adult. You should be able to handle this. And he goes, alright. Well, the next weekend rolls around. He gets, gives us a call. We go to pick him up. And I guess his idea of a shower is different than the standard idea of a shower, where you use soap and water and you scrub yourself clean. No, he took a French shower, man. He just sprayed himself down with some knockoff body spray that's supposed to be deodorant, but we all know it's just fucking perfume and aerosol. It's not going to stop the stench. It covers the stench, but only barely. Except for when it's a stench that big. When it's a stench that hard, Jesus, there is no hiding it. So, we go through the game. He stinks up the room. And again, it's like, dude, you gotta start showering. Well, Fast forward a little while, we'd occasionally take snack breaks, and he would try to mooch food off everyone. I brought a sandwich one day because I had skipped dinner because, I got off work late, and I had to go home, shower, and get ready for the game, because I didn't want to smell like work. I wanted to be clean and not stink. Like most normal people, wash the work day off, put on some clean clothes, some comfortable socks and shoes, and then go game. But I didn't have time to eat dinner, so I just threw together like a PBJ. And he starts begging for, my sandwich. And not like part of it or a bite of it. He's like, just give me the sandwich. It's like the whole sandwich. It's like, yeah. It's like, then what the fuck am I supposed to eat? I haven't eaten all day. I'm tired. No. Well, we got tired of his begging, but we didn't do anything about it, so it kind of got worse, like his behavior. A few weeks down the road, after a couple more sessions, his stench did kind of improve a little. It still smelled like ass, but it wasn't like ass and death. It was just hints of ass. So I guess he was somewhat cleaning himself up. I don't know where he was doing it because he was still in that apartment with no power and no water. And, yeah, so a game session comes up. We take a halfway break. And my buddy goes across the street to this little pizza place and picks up like 3 medium one-topping pizzas, right? And he picks up pepperoni and some other shit, and this is a fair amount of pizza for us, and it's not like this place had giant mediums. They had actually kind of small mediums. Like, some places would call that they're small. But, I digress. That's completely getting off topic. Well, with the way they made those pizzas, everyone would get about 2 slices. And there's 6 of us there. We all kind of chipped in to get the pizza, except for Stinky. He didn't chip in anything. So, we're all expecting to get about 2 slices. Well, he comes back with these 3 pizzas that are only about that big. They're about the size of a dinner plate. They're not very large. And before, we can get the paper plates out, because they gave us paper plates, and put them on the table and then divvy out the pizza, 2 slices each, Stinky has already ripped the lid off of one box and has scooped up like this half, almost like 2/3 of this one pie, and put it, on the cardboard lid of the box. And we're like, dude, what the fuck, man? It's like, well, I'm hungry and I have a really fast metabolism. It's like, dude, that doesn't matter. We all chipped in. You didn't. You don't get to just take as much as you want. Well, you've got like 2 other people. Yeah, but dude, there's 6 of us, including you. And based off the size of this pizza, that's about 2 slices each. It's not a big pizza, man, and you just took, most of a pizza. Now, we're not all going to get, a decent amount. You're being stingy. He goes, well, I don't care. He puts his hand down in the cheese as a fucking tantrum-esque way of marking it as his. It was very childish. Well, we're like, fine, fuck it. We eat, we get back to gaming. And while we're gaming, we notice he pulls his backpack up into his lap, and he's looking through a binder. And at first we didn't think anything of it. He's just, he's probably looking something up. Nah. Somehow Stinky had gotten a printer, and I'm guessing he probably just went to the library, or he's been showering at a friend's house. I don't think he was showering at home. I don't think he had moved out because we were still picking him up from the apartment that he was squatting in. And he printed up a bunch of lolly porn and put it in this 3-ring binder and these clear sheets. And he's just getting disruptive and showing his lolly porn collection. And you're like, Christ, man. 1, we don't want to see that shit. 2, we're trying to game. You're supposed to be paying attention here, man. It's like, well, no. And it's like, dude, stop. Well, the game finally ends. We go outside. after everyone's packed all their stuff up, and we're, it's the post-game shoot the shit. Everyone's kind of smoking a cigarette, and shooting the shit, and we're talking. And he brings up the most random and horrifying thing. I mean, it was like, what the fuck, man? That's not the kind of shit you tell a stranger. And it was bad, man, because what he brought up was that his mom had sexually abused him and molested him. And he liked it. He was, like, proud that his mom had done this and that she tried to seduce him and watched porn with him and touched him. And it's like, man, that's not the kind of crap you tell people. That's the kind of crap you tell an officer of the law, a court, a therapist, maybe in group therapy. That's not the kind of thing you tell your gaming group, is that your mom molested you and you liked it. That's just not the kind of thing you drop in on a conversation. And it was about that point we decided, we gotta get rid of Stinky. We can't keep him in this group anymore. He's gonna kill the game. So the rest of the group met up at like an IHOP or Denny's later on that week without him. And we decided he's got to go. We can't have him in the group. He's too disruptive. He's too vulgar in a way. And he was just not a good influence in the group. He was a real detractor from the game because we're having to constantly correct him, and his smell was bad, and his behavior was inappropriate. And he was fucking creepy as fuck at this point. So we took a vote, and our GM's the one that had to tell him that he couldn't come to the group. But our GM decided that the more humane method of getting rid of him was just telling him that the game was on a hiatus. And we approved it. We're like, all right, yeah, just do that, get rid of him. We don't care how, just get rid of him. So, the GM tells Stinky, hey, the game's on a permanent hiatus. It's like, oh, okay. And then we skipped a couple weeks of gaming because we didn't want to risk running into him, and we switched game shops. And it worked out. We got rid of him, and we brought in a new player, and we finished the campaign, and it worked really, really well. Meanwhile, the guy that started that anime group, well, he had hired me to do some odd jobs around his shop. Help him build a silk screen press, along with one of the other guys from the gaming group. And it's like, all right, cool. He paid us, and it was easy to put it together. I respect him as a businessman, but he's a terrible person. But I'm not going to name who he is. But at the time, he was setting up a store to cater to anime. But he calls my buddy from the gaming group, not the GM, and me, and says, hey, I need you guys to come over and help me get someone to move out of my apartment. And we're like, okay, cool. Yeah, sure. My buddy comes and picks me up, because at the time my truck just did not want to start. And we go over to, the guy's apartment, and we're helping him evict one person. And my buddy notices all of these lolly things on this other door, including a sign that says, unattended lollies will be fondled. And my buddy says, and I quote, that's disgusting. That is so fucking disgusting. Just trivializing fucking child abuse and molestation. That's fucking gross. And who should pop their head out of the room? Why, it was none other than Stinky himself. He'd moved in with someone and was leeching off of them. Because after Stinky had heard this, he came out and tried to scold us about, oh, well, blah, 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 and other people and shaming this and da-da-da-da-da. And then he goes in his room, and my buddy, it's just not my buddy, he's the guy that was paying us to help him move someone out, said, yeah, I need to get rid of him too. And Stinky comes out, and he's still giving us shit. He's going to the kitchen to get something to eat, and he walks back into the kitchen. He comes back with a plate covered in food, and just makes a beeline for his room. And I'm like, hey, Stink. I didn't call him Stink, I called him his name.
And he turns around and is like, what? I said, it's going to suck to be you in a week. He's like, huh? He goes back in his room. Week later, he gets evicted. He gets thrown out. That's fine. Buddy kept his apartment for a while longer, and then he moved because his lease was up and he didn't want to live there anymore. Okay, that's fine. Well, fast forward a few years, and my buddy and I, we'd finished up a different game, and we went to, a coffee shop to get coffee. He got some bullshit fancy drink. I just got him, a coffee. Plain simple. Well, I'm out on the patio, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and the manager tells us you can't smoke on the patio, you gotta go by the dumpsters. So we go back by the dumpsters, and we're just shooting the shit. And we're by the dumpster, and fucking Christ, Stinky pops out of the dumpster and starts talking about how he had just found another roommate. They'd let him move in. He'd been there for a while, and da-da-da-da-da. But the guy went crazy on him and asked if we'd seen a big military-looking guy with, like, an eagle tattoo on his forearm. And, that he had freaked out on him, was going to beat him up, and he was really scared. And, if we'd seen him, and to be fair, we hadn't. We're like, no, we haven't seen him. He's like, well, he's da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, okay, man, we haven't seen him. We finish our coffees, throw the cups away into what I'm assuming was his hiding hole, but for all I know, he could be living in it. And as we're walking off, we see this military-looking dude. He's got the high and tight. He's got the bead chain on his neck, so I'm assuming he had dog collars on underneath. And that eagle tattoo was a very obvious clue that the guy was in the army. He was either retired or in still. And he's screaming into his phone, if I find that little bastard, I'm going to fuck him up, and da-da-da-da-da. I let him in my house, I feed him, I take care of him, and this is how he fucking pays me back. He molests my 9-year-old daughter. Apparently Stinky had been touching a 9-year-old inappropriately. Yeah. And we go, hey, are you looking for it? And we describe Stinky. He goes, yeah, where is he? He's in the dumpster over there. And the guy's like, really? Well, yeah, he's hiding in a dumpster. He hangs up his phone, calls the police, and then goes over to the dumpster. Now, Stinky is very lucky that the police got there before this guy could get to the dumpster. I mean, the cops were probably not too far away. They were probably on the way to this guy's apartment, which was not right across the street, but it was across the parking lot and then across the street from the coffee shop. Because they came from that direction, and they were there in a matter of fucking less than 2 minutes. And Stinky gets arrested. And apparently, from what we heard from the cops and from what this guy was saying, is that Stinky had moved in with him 3 months ago, or 3 months prior, and the guy had felt genuinely sorry for Stinky, so he let Stinky in. And he was not charging him rent, he was, buying food and all this other shit and taking care of Stinky. Well, Stinky repays him by babysitting his daughter. The guy had no idea how fucked up Stinky was, because apparently Stinky was molesting his kid. Let's put this into context here. Stinky, when we met him, was in his early 20s. By now, he's in his mid-20s. Which means he's 15 years, if not more, older than this young girl. And he's touching her inappropriately. And her dad finds out. I don't know how many of you out there are parents, but if I caught somebody molesting my kid, oh man, the cops would have to get him before I could. But yeah, that's the story of Stinky. The worst fucking gamer I've ever played with. Not because he was bad at gaming, but because he was a terrible fucking person in general. Anyways, I'm South Texas Fail, and this has been Storytime. If you hate the video, good. If you like the video, you suck. And if you fucking subscribe, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I'm out of here. See y'all around.